Good morning. Good mid morning to you all. I am Fanny, coming to you all from Crossroads Christian Ministries, where the Apostle Cheryl Tabitha is our leader. I promise I will not be before you all long, or I'm striving not to be before you all long. But I really enjoy the lesson today. I enjoyed whenever I was getting it. I enjoyed the way God had given it to me, and I am really praying that how He gave it to me and how I understood it, that I'm able to give it to you, and whatever level of understanding you may be on, you may be able to get it and understand it as well. So, this entire week, I have really been eating on last Sunday whenever the apostle told us that Jesus was enough. That literally has been my life. It has been the butt of my jokes. It had, whenever I say jokes, because I'm not joking to be dismissive. I'm not joking to be crude or nasty, but I joke and encouragement. Like, that has been my language for this week. That has been the answer to anything for me this week. And meditating on that, I was also led to what I'm about to give in this lesson. With Jesus being enough, I understand that there were choices that had to be made. God allowed me to really, really in-depthly look at John 3:16. Not all of it, just the part where it says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son." A choice. Then He allowed me to go to John 10:18, and these are all very, very familiar passages of Scripture, but this is how He connected them for me, where Christ said that no man taketh it, and what He was talking about was His life, from me, but I lay it down. A choice. So now we have God making a choice to give His Son. Excuse me. I'm a little under the weather, so forgive me if I sound crazy. And then you have Christ now making a choice to willingly give up His life. If we believe all those things, and that was a choice for God, it was a choice for Christ, He then leads me to 1 Peter 2:9, where it says that I am a part of a chosen generation. And because God made a choice, Christ made a choice that led to me being a part of a chosen generation. He chose me, so now I have to understand that I have to make a choice as well. And just stemming from Jesus being enough, my choice is Jesus. Because I was chosen, because all these choices were being made now. God made a choice, Christ made a choice, led me to be chosen. I now have to make a choice, and my choice is Jesus. And do you all know I'm halfway done? Okay, so that means I'm going to choose Him over everything. Even though Christ has so much competition, I'll say, in my life, which there really is no competition for Christ. But whenever I say competition, there's so many things in my life that is trying to compete with now. My reasoning and my understanding and my judgment of me being chosen. I have relationships that try and compete, and whenever I say relationships, I'm talking about the negativity sometimes that comes from relationships that tries to compete with my knowledge of God made a choice, Christ made a choice, and I'm chosen. I have bills that try and compete with that. I have work situations that try and compete with that. You know, all these things are in competition with this, but I have to understand the choices that were made for me and making me chosen, that I have to stay planted now in my choice. A time ago, we were talking, or a lesson was taught here, and it was regarding limitless possibilities. And after I understood all that from what God had given to me, He had taken my mind back to that little lesson that was taught. And I believe in the lesson it was saying that if we have God, then there is nothing that we can do or say that will be completed through God. And I understand all that, and I believe that. I understand that God makes everything for us possible. But whenever God was really dealing with me in this limitless possibilities that he had going on, he was telling me about what possibilities are. Thank you, Mama. He was telling me about what possibilities are. And all possibilities are opportunities for action. Because you are chosen and you realize you're chosen, that gives you possibilities. And inside these possibilities are opportunities for action. Acknowledgement of identity allows activation. So if I understand, because a lot of us are, either have been, currently in, or going through some identity crisis where we don't understand who we are. We don't understand what God made us to be. We're searching and we're seeking out, okay, well, what is my purpose? What is this? What is that? But all who have successfully gotten past that, and that is in no way shade, dig, or none of that, because I once was there. And I had to realize God made a choice, Christ made a choice, and because of that, I'm chosen. So I can bypass all these things that come to make me question or make me wonder, well, what am I? Who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going? Because Jesus is enough. So with that being said, acknowledgement of identity allows activation. It allows me to activate in my possibilities. It allows me to achieve in my possibilities. It allows the goal that are set in my possibilities to be conquered and accomplished because I realize the choice. But an inability to recognize one's identity causes a hindrance or a forfeiture of your choice. What he told me and what he meant by that is some of us, I believe, start in a place where we understand God's choice, Christ's choice, even that we have made a choice, but somewhere along the lines, because of the competition that Christ has, the things that come in our life that compete with our choice, we sometimes are persuaded now that Christ is not it, or even though we won't verbalize it, our actions show that Christ is not it. So whenever we're not able to recognize the choice that we've made, it causes us a hindrance or a forfeiture, in our possibilities, or our places where we can go for action to take place. Now, what are these actions? Well, a lot of things can embody these actions, from what is being done to us all the way to what is being done from us to another person, from what is being said to us all the way to what is being said from us to another person. In the voluntary laying down of his life, talking about Christ now, there was a power exchange from he to us. And because he gave us power, now we can do whatever he calls us to do. And knowing that God made a choice, Christ made a choice, and now I'm a part of a generation. And looking at that, isn't it a blessed assurance to know that you're not alone? I'm not alone, but we are a part of a generation. There is a generation out there that is exactly like you, with the same mind frame, knowing that you have a choice, they have a choice too, and they choose to be activated in their limitless possibilities. Isn't it reassuring to know that he didn't leave us lonely, but there is literally somebody out there, and not that far away from you, that you can connect with, and you all are kindred because you all both have made a choice. With the exchange of power, it allows us to do the things that Christ has called us to do. So us remaining in an unappointed status renders us powerless. And whenever we're talking about an unappointed status, we're talking about the ones that have not gone forth and understood that God made the choice, Christ made the choice, and now you have to choose. Because he chose us, we must make a choice as well. And our choice, in my opinion, should be Jesus. Whenever we're talking about the place of unappointment, though, he was taken to a place of, or talking about the different things that we find ourselves in, or the different places we find ourselves in. Whenever I talk about places, I'm talking about not only physical places, but places being a state of mind that we find ourselves in, or places being in a state of behavior that we find ourselves in. Knowing this, us remaining in unappointed status renders us powerless because we were not placed here. And he gave me a few things, and this in no way is condemnation or judgment, but just to let you know, to further pull you out of your identity crisis or a place of you not knowing. You were not here to be a liar. You're not here to be a thief. And whenever, because y'all just don't understand, I gotta take a station break for this right here. I went through something last week that I felt was so horrific. And sometimes I am a bit dramatic, and I understand that, but you know how you're placed in things or situations, and the situation that you're placed in is almost always with somebody. Like, you go through something, but you don't go through it by yourself. You commonly go through what you're going through with somebody else, whether it be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a best friend, a child. Typically, when you go through something, there's another participant in what you're going through. Even if it's a bill, you know what I'm saying? It's enough participants besides yourself than what you're going through. And something happened to me by a person last week that I never, in my wildest of imaginations, dreams, goals, hopes, or aspirations would have thought this would have happened at the hands of that person. And there was some thievery involved. And God, because I understand everything is a teaching moment. We can't discount anything, whether we feel it's right, whether we feel it's wrong, or we're indifferent to it. Everything that happens to me was not only to me, but I understand it was for me as a teaching moment. So God was like, but yeah, that's the physical thing that was taken from you, but see what's attached to the physical thing that was taken from you. Because now you're looking at it as a physicality, but your faith at that time in that person was taken. Your maybe innocence was taken at that time from that person. Your goodwill maybe was taken away from that person at that time. It just wasn't maybe your joy, your happiness. But I am not in the place, nor are you in the place, through our choice to be in unappointed status. I have to look at it now. You didn't come to be a thief, neither did I. And if you are doing the works of Satan, it's still not you. Because Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But if you are actively participating in any of that, it's still not you, because that is not the appointment of our status. The appointment of our status in our choice is to choose Jesus. So I had wanted to say that because I say I'm over it, but I thank God that this is therapy for me. I thank God that I am eventually going to be like, okay, I am successfully over it, and I'm going to go on and do what I have to do. So I had to take that extra break real quick because I was helped. Because you're not going to hold my innocence. You're not even going to hold the fact that I feel now that you're a different person in character. I'm not going to do that, because that keeps me in a place. You can go on and you can do whatever you want to do. You can live your life, but it keeps me in a place. And because I know my appointment, I know that I have a choice and I have chosen Christ, I'm going to walk past it. It was mentioned by Apostle before we got on camp was, I think how she said it was, Christ endured all of it. Like everything that we have to suffer, basically what I got from it, everything that we have to suffer through, suffer with, Christ endured as well. He endured the abuse. He endured people talking about him. He endured all the things that we find ourselves plagued with. Christ endured it, but he came out of it. And most of all, he came out of it with his church. And I was like, oh my God, amen. So I got to come out of it, and I had to come out being the church. So with that being said, he didn't call us to be scammers. He didn't even call us to be disillusioned. He didn't call us to be killers. He did not call us to even be mediocre. He didn't call us to be undetermined, nor unkind, or unloving. So if you operate in any of those things at this time, that is an unappointed status. What we have to do is, once we understand that God made the choice, Christ made the choice, and now we have to make the choice. In our appointment, we have to be great. We have to be past all of that and the greatness that God has for us. Now, my greatness may not be your greatness, and your greatness may not be mine. However, in whatever Christ endeavors us to do, we have to be great in it. Because you were chosen. Because I was chosen. And because we were chosen, there's a choice that has to be made. And that choice should simply be Jesus. And when people be like, oh, okay, well, because even myself, whenever God was talking to me about this, I was like, well, God, what about the scripture where it says, many are called, but few were chosen? I was like, well, how is all of us chosen whenever the word says only few were chosen? And what he opened my understanding to know from that is that we have to be contextual, basically. We have to understand the context of the scripture. That scripture does not cancel anybody in here or anybody that may be looking on. Doesn't cancel me, it does not cancel you. Because maybe I'm not chosen to stand behind the pulpit or stand behind the podium, but I am chosen in a ministry. We all have a ministry, each individual person, because there's no point for us to be here. There's no reason for, whenever I say here, I'm not talking about in this place, I'm talking about here on earth, if we were not chosen for a specific reason or a purpose. Now, your chosen may not be what I was chosen for, but we all were chosen for a ministry. And it is not just to show love to somebody in humanity, in kindness, in love, in sincerity, in, okay, I understand where you are. I once was there. Let me help you. Not in condemnation, not in judgment, but just a genuine sincerity about wanting to help. Because after you've been strengthened, you have to go and strengthen someone else. You have to go and strengthen somebody else that may have been in the same predicament that you were in, or something that you have knowledge about. So we all are chosen for something. We all have a purpose, and God has a plan for all of us. So in choosing Christ, choosing Jesus, with him being enough, it equates to the love that God gives. The peace of mind that we receive in choosing Christ. The joy, the gratefulness, the thankfulness. And after all that's been said and done, I have to be solid in my choice. I can't waver. I can't tick-tock back and forth. I can't allow whatever is trying to compete with the peace that I have in choosing, the peace that I have in making my choice. I have to decide that I'm going to be solid on my choice. And every action thereafter is going to reflect my choice. So, yes, I go through things. Yes, whenever I say things, I really don't go through that much. I think I've just been so rehearsed in certain things, and certain things just kind of sound good to say. I mean, I really don't go through that much in my meditation and my reflection over this week. Like, and it's not a comparison, but like, I really don't go through that much because my mind went back to how Apostle posed the question. You know, we down to the wire now. This calendar year is gone almost. I mean, we only got a few more weeks. If I look back, how many days have I been hungry? How many days have I been naked? I mean, forcefully naked. y'all was saying, how many days have I not had shelter? How many days have I been sick? Past, like terminally ill, past the point of I can't get, well, I don't want to do that because Christ is a healer, but I'm not terminally ill. You know, I'm not sitting in a sickness or illness that really just takes me out on a day-to-day basis. You know, I have what God said that He would provide for me. Every need that He told me through Christ He would provide for me, I have had that consistently every single day of this year. So, and thinking about that and chewing on that, you really don't go through much, but there's those little hits and those misses that, you know, the enemy tries to throw at you, those little darts and stuff that he tries to shoot out at you and make you really question or wonder, like, why me, or my life, it seems like nothing is going my way, it's unfair, all this stuff. But even at that, I have to be solid in the choice that I made, that my decision from the choice that I made reflects the choice. Everything that I say, in my behavior, in my appointment, or my status of appointment, and what I think even, in all aspects and areas of my life. Because God made a choice, Christ made a choice, and because those things happen for me, and I take that personally to me, and I invite you because God told me to invite you to take it personally to yourself as well, because those choices were made for us, not just me, but for you as well. Those choices were made for us to open up the possibilities or the opportunities of action. Now we have to make a choice. We have to have an appointment. The Word of God tells us to make our calling and our election sure. And that means simply that we have to choose whatever. I invite you, I implore you to choose Christ. But whatever you elect to do, you have to be sure with it. So if I choose Christ today, it's going to be Christ tomorrow. It's going to be Christ in my circumstance. It's going to be Christ in my situation. It's going to be Christ in my problems. It's going to be Christ at work. It's going to be Christ in the training center. It's going to be Christ at the grocery store. It's just going to be Christ through and through. It's Christ in my home. Nobody is watching but God. It's going to be Christ on the road whenever somebody cuts me off. It's going to be Christ whenever I hear something negative maybe about me. It's going to be Christ whenever I hear a negative word toward me. It's going to be Christ at all those times because I understand my appointment. And it should be Christ for you. In love and joy and peace of mind and everything that Christ furnishes for us. Because you should know your appointment as well. I'm done. God bless you all.